Loki, Series 1, Episode 4, titled The Nexus Event. And this episode is fine. It's a fine episode, mainly because it's, you know what, all the problems about this episode isn't because of the episode itself. It was because of last week's episode. And all the stuff they thought we would, latch onto didn't. So, it doesn't really click for the audience, or at least it didn't click for me. Because this entire episode is written and driven by the relationship between Loki and Sylvia. And it does not fucking work, because they try and do this romantic thing of, Loki feels feelings for Sylvia. And they're doing this whole thing of, the only person that Loki loves more than anything is himself. So we'll give him a female version of himself and have that kind of romantic side of it. But the truth is, anytime that Loki expresses his love, it feels like he's talking to a brick wall. It feels there's no chemistry between the two characters on that level. It's like, I get it. Last week they thought this bickering, the bickering between Loki giving her confidence and Sylvia giving Loki back, oh, you're an idiot, you're an asshole, blah 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 blah. And for that was romantic, even the stuff on the train. It doesn't work. So all the time, it's about you. It's it's fine, cool. We understand it. The stuff that was interesting about this episode was all the stuff doing with the TVA. Because last week, on a very, the TVA are nothing but variants. You're like, time out, that's a big reveal. And what was interesting about this episode is that the concept of all these guys are variants. They were plucked out of their timeline and was basically rewritten to be part of the TVA. And what you have is interesting moments of these characters who work in the TVA and how they approach it. And it's kind of like that whole thing of, and you have sense of characters who are believing what they're feeling it. Some people are questioning it, and some people are denying it, or at least feels like they're denying it. Like you have certain characters, not only hit spoilers, where it kind of feels like they're basically saying to themselves that it's like telling someone you thought your life was all this, but in reality it was all that. And finding out all that is going to really mess with your head. So you're trying to make things back to the way it was. Find the status quo. Try not to change things. And that for me was an interesting part. And I kind of wish they kind of added more of that stuff in last week. Not just make it all Loki and Sylvia, so we can at least, we have some relationship stuff and build our relationship. So when certain moments happen through the episode of just like this episode, it feels more fluent. It feels more paced towards it. It feels not herent. Because I swear to God, if people are watching all 6 episodes after this whole show ends, the twists and the big giant boom moments are just going to come across as okay, that's the thing now. Okay, odd, weird. Well, we got 2 more episodes. Okay, they should probably use a little bit of that. There's a couple of theories, a lot of Easter egg stuff. There's a lot of all I will say here, without trying to hit spoilers, is if you're a person who thought one of the timekeepers was Kane the Conqueror, who's going to be the villain in Ant-Man 3 for Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania, played by John Majors, and Kane the Conqueror, he's a very time travel type of villain. So I understand why people think he would show up in this. Having the reveal at the end still doesn't close that door. And it's a possibility that that is going to be the thing. And it does feel like this show is going to open the multiverse of madness. It feels like it. It feels like it. But hopefully we got two more episodes, 2 more weeks of this show, and they hit it hard with a amazing final act, because it does feel like episodes 1 and 2, Act 1, 2, 3 and 4, Act 2, and we're about to hit Act 3.